Hi, friends. My hair is finally getting to a point where no, it's not. No, it's not. One day it'll happen. One day it'll happen where this thing will actually just like land correctly and not look like. From this angle, I look a bit like a nerd. In this angle, I look like a mildly receding preschooler. It's terrible. I don't know what to do anymore. So I just recently watched the movie No One Will Save You, and I think every single person that I've spoken to has really enjoyed this movie, and it's unfortunate to find out that they don't have eyes and ears, because I thought this movie was fairly terrible. And let me explain why. I'm the type of person who everything is either great or terrible. There's no gray area. Horror to me is no gray area. Either it's great or it's dog shit. And look, it's hard to say that this movie is dog shit. I don't think it is. But what I will say about this movie is I don't think it is anywhere near the pinnacle of invasion films and alien films out there. Like, for one, let's just say I tell you a little bit about the story, and why that bothered me. So the film is based in what you think is the 1950s because this girl dresses that way. She makes like one dress a year and somehow can afford an entire house. I can barely afford this apartment. And so we find out it's actually based on real time. And she has some sort of like guilt about something, and we don't know exactly what it is, but she's writing letters to this girl named Maud. Again, another reason why it seems like it's from the 1900s, because like, well, I guess that would have only been 23 years ago, but like mid 1900s, because the girl's name is fucking Maud. Who else is named Maud? Harold and Maud. I don't even fully finish that movie, and that's what. Okay, anyway, so we've got Bryn, and that's her name too. Anyway, it's fine. It's close enough. It's fine. It's fine. That's beside the point. And suddenly, one night, there's an alien invasion that happens. And what's interesting about this movie is that it plays its alien card 10 minutes into the film. What I'm trying to say is there is no, like, it doesn't ease you into, ooh, what does it look like? Full-blown gray alien, big eyes, nothing unique about it whatsoever. And that's kind of a problem to me. I guess you can flip it on two sides. Either you can really enjoy the fact that they just leaned entirely into the cliche alien, or you could, as I feel, either have kept that and gone in a much more, intentional, like, thrilling direction and suspenseful to keep somebody guessing. Because I think that's really a big thing about aliens that we like, is we like seeing the alien. The whole idea of aliens, even as a word, is this other, this other that is here, that has come. And, I think that's like that makes the Xenomorph, although I'm not a huge fan of the Alien series, but like what makes the Xenomorph so unique is because it has those alien qualities, like the limbs and whatnot, and the big head, but in a way that is bastardized and like really takes a more extreme form. And so when you have this alien in this movie, it just wasn't that exciting. It doesn't help that the CGI also looks like a Tubi original. Actually, not to knock Tubi originals, I watched Titanic 666, and it had actually pretty decent CGI in comparison to this movie. And that's the thing too, is I'm expected to suspend disbelief in any sort of situation in a horror movie. Either use practical effects, which looks real, or CGI that looks like it has a real texture to it. And that's the problem, is this looks like 3D, 2D. And what I mean is that you could tell that it was trying to look three-dimensional, but in such a 2D, feel like depth, that it just didn't look correct. It didn't look good. It looked like those old screensavers from your laptop, from the computers, the old Dells. That's exactly what it looks like when it came to Dimension. So the story itself was weird, because here's the thing: the movie has no dialogue besides maybe two sentences about 2/3 of the way through the film, right? Which I can buy for about 5 minutes. The issue being is that this girl enters so many different scenarios where you would say something. You would say at least something. I talk to myself all day. I don't expect everybody to talk to themselves all day. I talk to the dishes. I told the dishes to sit down today. I don't know why. I was angry at them. But in this movie, she is being chased by an alien, and she goes to a church, or tries to get inside a building. Doesn't knock. She kind of knocks, but she never says a word. She doesn't scream. It's like, girl, what do you expect? What, the people are going to be standing there waiting for you? What if they're hiding inside? Oh my god. So I had to sometimes suspend disbelief that this girl would do something. And we know she's not a mute because she sings a bit of a song earlier in the film. And the rest of the town doesn't talk either. It was, I will say, about the creature design wasn't bad. It reminded me extremely heavily of A Quiet Place, and I think this film was trying to emulate A Quiet Place, almost to a default. And by that I mean like the characters look the same. It was built around the idea of being silent. So the characters, monsters didn't hear you. One thing about aliens we have to think about is that if these people are able to, people, things, whatever, are able to get to our planet and have all this technology, they can probably fucking hear you walking 10 feet away. That's the thing too, is I also couldn't suspend disbelief that these aliens would somehow manage to get here and take over the entire planet, couldn't hear this girl clonking across the room. Anyway, it's fun. There were some pretty funny scenes which weren't meant to be funny, I don't think. Like, one of the aliens is trying to bring over the UFO and it starts doing an interpretive dance. It's the fucking stupidest thing in the world. And I laughed, and I know I wasn't supposed to, but it's like moving its arms like this and dancing. And it was like some sort of fucked up brain dance. Anyway, fun stuff. I will say about 3/4 of the way into the movie, I think the last quarter, I guess that's a better way of doing it. Math's not my thing. I really enjoyed it. And I think I enjoyed the last quarter because it brought in the human aspect. We find out why this girl feels guilt. We find out about stuff about Maud, and this whole thing kind of comes together. Now, I will say comes together means that component does, but the first 3/4, and how in the world alien invasion has to do with this girl's guilt doesn't make any sense. It's not connected, and I think that's the problem too, is it took way too long to get to this point where I'm like, if the previous 3/4 had really been able to dive into, like, I guess, character development, what this girl was feeling, I'd be able to empathize more and understand where it was going. And, like, this moment, the last quarter, would be more impactful because it was impactful and had the ability to. But the issue is, it's the lack of dialogue, I think, to a degree. Here's the thing. Like, The Quiet Place, you had dialogue and then not. And so you were able to see those interactions. I don't think people understand how much, like, voice matters. Verbiage matters. The way that we interact and talk to people matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's why language was invented so rapidly, in some form of language, is because that is what connects us. And that's the problem, too, is everything felt... My alarm went off. Everything felt so disconnected from reality. And I will continue to harp on the fact that you can feel like you are in reality in a very unrealistic horror situation. You can have a zombie apocalypse and feel like this is real. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I didn't feel like with this film. And a part of it had to do with the fact that she's in 2023 or something. Her town looks like it's from the 1950s. She dresses like the 1950s, and then there's just like this alien invasion. I don't know. I was running into some randos at Totally Killer screening, and they sat down with me and they're like, we saw this movie about alien invasions and we don't know if it had anything deeper meaning to it. And that's the problem, as I feel like every horror movie nowadays feels like it has to have a deeper meaning to it. And I think this movie was attempting it, and did have the ability to go there, but I think limited itself in a detrimental way, narratively, and that directorial choice. And I would say that the non-talking was literally just a circle jerk for the director and the creator. I mean that. What I'm trying to say is, like, there was no narrative reason. Quiet Place had a good reason. Other films have had a good reason. Blindness, for the sake of blindness thing, had a good reason. This movie did it, and I kind of feel like they wanted to have a one-up. Now, I will say Caitlin Dever is amazing. Loved her in Booksmart. She was not that great in Monsterland because they made her do some funky southern accent that she was not good at. But she is a great actress, and she held the movie on her shoulders. Again, though, I feel like it would be wonderful to have had more human interaction as well in that film. We lacked that severely. And it doesn't allow me to connect to this girl who happened to have an entire business based around one dress she sells. Anyway, it's fine. I'm just looking for a job, so I'm no bitter against, our little Martha Stewart on the screen. Anyway, I don't recommend it at all. Definitely 100% don't. Again, like, if you want a movie that's similar, kind of like that, Hush by Mike Flanagan ain't too shabby. If you like those ones where silence plays a role, and I feel like silence did not have a purpose in this film besides to not get caught, and that's every horror movie, guys. That's every horror movie. Anyway, I'm gonna try to finish this movie called Perpetrator tonight, which I want to watch because Alicia Silverstone has been doing a lot of horror movies recently for some odd reason, and I have to support her and I have to support Shudder. So, yay.